Yes? Charlie? Anybody there? Anybody home? Strange night. Hearing sounds now. Better fool me. Raven. I want to see your face. I love to see your face. You never see. Charlie? The rose is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think we can remove that detail from the embassy. Political situation's cooled off by now. Besides, we can use those men on the street. Yeah, of course they're gonna squawk. They like all that free cake and coffee they get around the back door and all those cute little embassy secretaries. Yeah, first thing in the morning. I'll take the heat. All right, thanks, Ed. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just a little tired. Okay, thanks. Good night. Did it mean that much to you to have him find you here?
He's a monster, Derek. You don't know.
He used to be your lover, didn't he? I don't think you're revealing any secrets. It's obvious.
All right, so we had a thing. That was ages ago.
Does he know that?
Yes.
Why does it upset you so much to have him come up here now?
Because he scares me. You have no idea what kind of a man he is. He gets very jealous.
Worried about me? Don't be. I can take care of myself.
No, I'm worried about something else.
It's not going to harm you either. I promise you that. If you want me to deliver a little warning in advance, I will. I can do that very effectively.
Oh, I feel sick.
You want something?
No. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go home.
Maybe you ought to relax.
No, I gotta go home.
All right, I'll drive you.
No, he might be outstairs watching.
That's all the more reason for me to...
Derek, no!
He said he was going back to his office. What did he mean by that? Document he had to get.
I don't know. I have to go home. I have to think.
Well, Red, I'd love to stay and chit-chat with you for the evening, but Unfortunately, the department does not pay me for that.
Yeah, I know. They don't pay me for talking either. Oh. Saxon.
Saxon, this is Mallory.
Oh, hello, Chief. How are you?
I'll tell you that after you answer my question. Is it or is it not true that you're continuing the investigation into the Nadine Scott accident?
Well, no, of course not, Chief. I gave up the formal investigation as soon as you gave me the order.
Something tells me you put that word formal in there for a reason.
I don't know what you mean, Chief.
Isn't it true that you placed another transatlantic phone call? This time to Ansel Scott, Nadine's widower?
No, it's not true.
Are you lying to me?
No, I'm not lying to you. I talked to Mr. Scott, but you don't have to worry. I haven't stiffed the department out of another phone bill.
So what are you saying? That you paid for the phone call yourself?
No, I didn't. I just happened to be over at April and Draper's visiting, and his father called him. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
All right, so there's a slight technical difference involved. But the purpose of the conversation was to discuss the accident. Is that correct?
Chief, will you just tell me how you came across this information?
That's not important now.
Well, it is to me, because I know Draper wouldn't have called you and told you this, and I don't see how Raven could have... But of course I know how she could have. She probably talked to Ansel, too. They used to be good friends, you know that?
I just wanted to make sure you're still cop enough to follow orders.
I also happen to be a private citizen. I have certain privileges, Chief.
So as a concerned private citizen, you questioned Jim about his wife's will, is that it?
Well, we did discuss the will.
So you now know that Raven doesn't get a penny of her mother's money. Doesn't that satisfy your curiosity?
Chief, listen, I don't think it's
all right,
fair...
Detective, that's all I have to say on this matter. I hope it's the last time I hear about it. Good night.
All the crust.
What'd he do?
It's not what he did, it's what she did. She found out from her old boyfriend, Ansel, and she went running to her new boyfriend.
Deborah, you are treading on very thin ice. You better be careful about this investigation of yours.
Yeah, I'm going to be real careful.
Nancy, you weren't still waiting up for me, were you?
Yes, I was. Would you like something to warm you up?
No, listen, I'm really sorry it's so late now. I guess I'll be going off to bed.
You don't have the puppets. Oh, are they out in the car?
No, I don't have them. They're still over at the Unicorn.
Well, you said that you were going over there because you were afraid Elliot Norn might destroy them. What happened?
When I got to the door of the Unicorn, I thought, this is a mistake.
But on the phone, you sounded so concerned about the puppets.
Yeah, well, I still am. But the way Dorm was acting at the club, I was afraid that he had gone crazy and torn the puppets apart.
But then you changed your mind.
Yeah, well, there was something else that stopped me, Nancy. You see, I still have my key to the Unicorn right here. Well, you know that I'm the last one there at night and usually the first one there in the morning.
Yes. Yes, I know that. You probably should have turned them in.
Yeah, I really should have. I should have given them to Charlie or somebody like that, but I really didn't think about it. Well, anyway, when I got to the door of the Unicorn, I thought that if I went in there after hours with nobody else around, Dorn could claim that I took something other than the puppets.
Okay. I see what you mean.
And if anything else had been missing, anything at all, like money or liquor, I could be in for a lot of trouble. And I think you know that I've had all the trouble I can handle.
Kelly, why don't you sit down? You probably did the right thing. You can go over and get your puppets tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if they're not in the city dump by then.
Oh, I don't think he would do that, because they are your personal property, and that would be considered, if you destroyed them, criminal.
You know, Elliot Dorn was pretty angry at me. You know as well as I do that when people get angry, they can be very vindictive. Especially when they're as drunk as he was.
Did you two have a fight?
Yes, we did.
What?
Well, when he got rough with Jody like that, I lost my head. I lost control, especially when he used one of my puppets to start it.
Puppets, what do you mean?
Nancy, he hid behind the stage and pretended to be me. And then he picked up one of my puppets and used it to make a pass at her. Listen, I really think it's time I go to bed.
Oh, no. Please, I want to hear the rest of this.
Well, it was like this red curtain dropped down in front of my eyes. And then I jumped him and knocked him to the floor, hit him in the mouth, and he started to bleed. Nancy, I really hope that he doesn't decide to press charges against me.
I hope he doesn't change his mind.
No, I don't think Doran's in for that kind of publicity at all. Besides, he knows that I've got really good legal counsel right here, right?
Well, I just wish that your really good legal counsel were here in Monticello instead of Capital City.
Well, have you heard from Mike today?
Yes, a little while ago. He'll be back day after tomorrow. I hope you won't need him. As a lawyer, I mean.
I hope I don't need him either.
Well, here it is. The last lonely cookie. Come on, who wants it?
Not me. I don't want to be an old maid.
Oh, rank superstition. What about you? You can't be an old maid.
No, but I could be several pounds heavier. No, thank you.
All right. Serves you right. Listen, ladies, I think bedtime is on the agenda. You can both stand a good night's sleep.
I don't know if I can sleep. I'm all keyed up. But you two, go upstairs. Go to bed.
No, I still have all the dinner dishes on the table.
Oh, please, let me do them.
No, you don't understand. It's not just these. It's that I have all those dinner dishes.
I'll do them, too. You go upstairs. You're looking tired.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it in front of my husband here, I'm exhausted.
All right. Up to bed with you. Come on. Let's go. And don't worry about all the dishes. Jody and I will do them together. We'll have them in the dishwasher in 5 minutes.
Oh, there, didn't I tell you my husband is ideal? Listen, Jody, don't worry about this job, okay? Some people think that losing a job is the best thing that ever happened to them.
You're an optimist, aren't you?
Yeah, I am an optimist.
Well, wait a minute. Where's my goodnight kiss?
Come upstairs and get it.
Good night.
Well, I'll start out here.
Yeah, okay. Miles? Miles, can I ask you something?
Yeah, sure.
This thing that's wrong with Nicole, how serious is it really?
Whoever used the word serious.
Well, I haven't heard any other words to describe
Yes,
it.
you have. Anemia. She's not producing enough red blood cells. I think they've gone on strike for shorter hours.
So, then there's nothing really to worry about, right?
Well, you ought to worry about any illness, but just to the extent that makes you take care of it. Anything beyond that is a waste of time.
She won't talk to me about it. That's what worries
Jody,
me.
all she needs is time, rest, and a little TLC.
Well, she'll get all the tender, loving care she needs from me.
And for me, too.
You love her an awful lot, don't you?
awful lot, yeah.
I love her, too. Do you believe that?
Why wouldn't I believe it?
Because I've only known her a couple of months. She's my sister, and we grew up apart. But I love Nicole, just as if we were raised together.
Well, sometimes love doesn't take all that long to develop, you know. It didn't take me very long to find out how I felt about her.
You're not trying to spare me or anything like that, are you?
Why would I do that?
Well, I don't know. Because sometimes people don't tell other people how bad a situation is.
Nicole's situation's just fine. Don't worry, Jody. Your sister will be there. You have your big opening night on Broadway.
Yeah, who is it?
Police, open up.
Calvin? What the hell are you doing here? You know I don't give classes after midnight.
Yeah, well, I was passing by, and I saw the light from the window. I figured it was either you or a burglar.
I'd like to know what a burglar could take out of this place.
Well, your stereo, for one thing. I could pull the bar out of the wall, break into the lockers. You'd be surprised what people are stealing these days.
Well, we got a cop on the beat that watches things like that. But it's good to know I have a first-class detective worrying about it. You want a beer or something?
Only if it's very, very cold.
That's another thing they could swipe. They could swipe my little refrigerator.
Oh. Ta-da. Oh. Thanks.
Have you thought any more about the police benefit?
I'm still thinking.
When are you going to decide?
Well, I'll make a deal with you. When I get the routine down pat, I mean really down pat, I'll show it to you and you tell me, honestly, whether or not it's good enough to do in public, okay?
I'll tell you honestly, Calvin.
Yeah, I know you will. You know, I like honest people. And unfortunately, I don't get to meet too many of them in my line of work.
Yeah, I don't know that many myself. The worst is when you think someone's honest and they're not.
You're thinking about her again, aren't you? That girl you told me about.
I wasn't thinking about anything.
Oh, the hell you weren't. You know, I'm beginning to realize that, you think about her a whole lot. What was her name again? Let's see. It was, something French, wasn't it?
It slipped my mind.
Martine. Yeah. Hey, don't worry. No more questions. As a matter of fact, I gotta get home to my wife. Thanks for the beer, buddy. See you later.
Later.
This is what they call the red suite, Mrs. Duval. Only it doesn't look too red to me. Where would you like your suitcase?
Oh, over there.
They used to call it the presidential suite, but they never did get the president to stay here. Now it's the ambassador suite. Your husband an ambassador?
It's Miss Duval.
Oh, sorry. I just thought it's a big suite, you know, 2 bedrooms.
Thank you for your help.
As soon as the rest of your luggage arrives, I'll bring it right up.
No, it's not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Hello, Mallory.
Chief, it's Calvin.
Calvin, what's up?
Well, I was passing the Unicorn a couple of minutes ago, and I noticed the lights were on, so I asked Officer Ronaldo to let me in.
What was it, a burglary?
No, it's more than that. It's murder. Well, Chief, as you can see from all indications, the stabbing took place approximately right here.
Is this the only place you found any blood?
Yeah, I figured he probably stumbled to the telephone before he collapsed because it was off the hook when I arrived.
And this is the light switch. But we don't know that he intended to activate the light in the sound system.
He probably did it to signal for help.
All right, so we know how, when, and where. Now I want to know who and why.
Well, my guess is that Elliot knew his attacker.
What makes you think that?
Well, there's nothing to indicate that robbery was the motive.
Yeah, the register was still full of money.
Yeah, but a surprised robber doesn't always finish what he started.
Yeah, but the murder took place after the club was already closed. So either Elliot let the person in, or he had a key.
Yeah, but it's possible that whoever killed him entered during business hours, hid in the restroom until the place cleared out, then made his move. Just how big is Dorn's enemy list anyway, do you know?
Well, he's no threat to be the sweetheart of Monticello, but offhand, I really can't think of anybody who disliked him enough to want to see him dead.
Now, we got in touch with Charlie Harmon, his bartender, so we can talk to him and find out about Elliot's known associates.
All right, fine. Anybody needs me, I'm going back to headquarters. The Dorn autopsy ought to be finished by now.
Okay, you know, if Harmon did help Elliot close up, he was probably the last person to see him alive.
Well, it's a pretty safe bet that if he wasn't, I was. Keep me posted.
What do you mean by that?
Aren't you? No consideration for your mother. Oh, God, did I have an awful night. You don't care, do you? Go on, play with your toys. I gotta get dressed and get out of here. Oh. Today is the last day of court, Jamie, and Mommy wants to look especially nice when they tell her that she gets you forever and ever. Oh, God. I can't put on this makeup like this. I'm gonna look like a clown. All right, Raven.
calm down. Everything is all right.
It's going to be just fine. There's some music.
And that's how the presidential candidates plan to be spending this day. Turning to the local scene, Coriander Street on Monticello's east side was the site of a brutal murder during the night. The crime took place in the Unicorn Discotheque, a popular gathering place for the city's young people. Police surmise that sometime between the hours of 1 and 2 a.m., well after closing time, the night spot's proprietor, Elliot Dorn, fell victim to a knife-wielding assassin and was stabbed in the back fatally. Police on the scene report that no arrests have been made, but are confident that their investigation will result in the speedy apprehension of Dorn's killer. Since arriving in Monticello some 2 years ago, Elliot Dorn led what an associate described as a checkered career, a fact that police are taking into consideration in their investigation.
Would you mind if I turn this off? I've heard quite enough.
Of course, it's quite a shocking thing to wake up to.
You know, I never really cared very much for Elliot Dorn, but this is dreadful.
Well, you could hardly say I was a member of his fan club, but disliking somebody and hating them enough to commit murder are two different ballgames.
Logan, do you suppose that Raven was still keeping company with Elliot?
I don't know, Geraldine. Raven never kept me up to date on her social calendar.
Nor did she when you were living together as man and wife.
No. My guess would be that they were still seeing each other, that the affair hadn't died out. I wonder if Raven knows about all of this.
My dear, it's all over the news.
Maybe I should give her a call.
Do you really think you could serve any purpose by telling her this news yourself?
No, it's always painful when you lose someone you care about. She just went through that with her mother. Maybe I can help soften the blow.
My dear Logan, sometimes the degree of compassion you show amazes me.
Hello?
Raven, this is Logan.
What do you want?
Well, I just wondered if you'd heard the news this morning or seen a paper.
Yes, I heard about Elliot on the radio. It's horrible.
Yes, it is. The police will catch whoever did it, though, that's for sure.
Right. It must have been one of his clients who had a few too many and then got belligerent.
It's possible.
I know a lot of creeps hang out in that place. I told Elliot he should hire a bouncer, but... what do you want?
Well, I thought the news might have upset you, so I thought I'd call and see how you were feeling.
That would please you very much, wouldn't it?
Listen now, I wouldn't mind you being shaken up about Elliot. After all, you were friends.
Elliot Dorn meant absolutely nothing to me, but of course I'm upset. Who wouldn't be? An acquaintance of mine has been brutally murdered, and it's terrible.
If you'd like a few days off from the trial, I'm sure Judge Lewis would oblige.
Why would I want to do that?
Well, losing Elliot so soon after your mother's death, I thought it might help.
Logan, I know exactly what you're up to, of all the underhanded things to do.
What are you talking about?
You're trying to use Elliot's death to your own advantage.
I'm doing no such thing.
Look, you're hoping that I ask for a delay so some miracle might happen and shift the advantage. Just forget it.
Raven, I have no intention of trying...
Logan, I happen to feel perfectly able to go on with the trial today, so I'll see you in court.
Nancy?
In here.
Hi, good morning. Did you save that piece of peach pie for me? You know, you're right. You told me last night that everything would look brighter this morning. Well, it does.
Kelly, I just heard something rather shocking on the radio, and I think you should know.
Yeah, what's that?
Elliot Dorn is dead.
What?
It happened sometime early this morning at the Unicorn. Apparently somebody attacked him. He was stabbed in the back.
Somebody must have been trying to rob the place. I told you there's a lot of cash and liquor around the place. Dorn was probably trying to be a hero and got himself stabbed for his troubles.
No, it hasn't been made public yet, but I understand that the police don't think that... They've ruled out the possibility of robbery because nothing of value was taken.
Oh, I see. Listen, Nancy, I don't know how you feel about this whole thing, but I'm not going to be able to shed too many tears about that guy.
No, I never liked him myself.
Then what are you so upset about?
Well, I'm thinking about you.
Me?
Yes, about what happened last night, the fight you had with him.
Oh, Nancy, I just punched the guy, that's all. And that must have happened hours before he was killed. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You don't think for one second that I possibly could have been responsible for his murder?
No, I don't.
Well, when I left the club, the guy was alive and well. He was fine. Bleeding a little bit, maybe, but it was nothing serious. Look, you can ask Jody.
Oh, that's not the question, Kelly. You did go back to the Unicorn last night, right?
Yes, I did, to get my puppets. Only I changed my mind. I didn't set another foot back into that place last night. I didn't, Nancy. I swear I didn't.
Kelly, do you think there's any possibility that the police know about the fight you had?
I don't know. I suppose. They could find out easy enough.
Well, maybe it might be a better idea if they find out from you. Maybe you ought to go down to police headquarters today, this morning, and tell them everything you know.
But I don't know anything,
Kelly,
Nancy.
You worked for him. You and Jody possibly were the last people to see him alive. They're going to question you anyway.
Yeah, you're right. It would look better if I volunteered, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Well, all right. I'll go down to headquarters.
Oh, we will. I'm going with you.
You don't have to do that. I don't need somebody to hold my hand, Nancy.
I am going to... I want to find out. For the paper. I'll call Deborah Saxon and tell her that we're on our way. Why don't you try to eat something?
You don't mind. I know it's a little early, but I need a little something to steady my nerves. It was a terrible thing that happened last night.
You be our guest. Go right ahead, Mr. Harmon.
Hey, look, you're welcome to a belt if you like. I mean, it's on the house.
No, thanks. We're on duty. Just tell us what happened last night.
Well, I had a feeling in my bones something bad was going to happen.
Why? Anything in particular happened to give you that feeling?
Well, it was such a weird night. Strange things were happening.
Like what?
Like Mr. Dorn coming in here and heading straight towards that bar stool and beginning to put a dent in his profits, that's what.
No, was it unusual for Mr. Dorn to drink during business hours?
Are you kidding? If he had to pay for all the booze he put away, he'd be his own best customer. But usually he spent a little time in his office, taking care of bills and stuff before raising a few. But last night, I thought he was trying to break some sort of record.
Did he give you a reason why he was drinking?
Well, he was pretty upset from the opening bell, but, he was kind of a moody guy, so I didn't pay any attention. Wait a minute, I think he mentioned something about having woman trouble, but who doesn't, right?
Was, Mr. Dorn, in your opinion, anyway, was he drunk?
He was really oiled.
All right, while he was in this state, did he come in contact with any customers to have any arguments with them?
No, that wasn't Mr. Dorn's style. Besides, by the time the place filled up, he was gone.
Gone? What do you mean, passed out?
No, I mean gone, out the door. 9:30, 10 at the outside. He just split.
Do you know where he went?
I couldn't even guess. But he came back around midnight, and that's when the real fireworks started.
Yeah? Why don't you tell us about that, Charlie?
Well, you see, Elliot, he had this eye for the ladies, The prettier and the younger, the better.
Mr. Harmon, will you just stick to the story, please?
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, he made a pass at one of our waitresses, this nice kid by the name of Jody Travis. Mm-hmm. And I gather it wasn't the first time he put the make on her.
I see. So Jody objected and there was a scene. Is that what happened?
Oh, no, nothing so tame. We have this puppeteer that works here by the name of Kelly McGrath. Mm-hmm. And I think he's kind of sweet on Jody. Well, anyway, he caught Mr. Dorn hitting upon that babe, and he decided to defend her honor.
Oh, and how did he do that?
Well, I was down in the wine cellar, and I heard all this hollering. And I came up in time just to see him plant a solid right to Dorn's chin, and, man, he went down like a ton of bricks.
So it was a one-punch fight, is that
Well,
it?
It should have been, I'll tell you that, because this kid, though, He had blood in his eyes. He went after him while he was down and took all I could to pull him apart.
Is that how the fight ended?
Well, Mr. Dorn was really sore. And he fired both of those kids right on the spot. Well, they lived together, and that was that.
I think we should talk to Kelly McGrath.
Hey, speak of the devil.
Hey, what are you doing here, Nancy?
I called headquarters. They said that you and Calvin were here. This is my nephew, Kelly McGrath. Kelly, this is Detective Saxon, Detective Stoner.
Hi. How do you do? Charlie tells us that you and Mr. Dorn had something of a difference of opinion last night, Mr. McGrath.
Yeah, well, that's why I came over here. To tell you my side of the story.
Yeah, well, we'd certainly be glad to hear it.
Well, they asked me what happened last night, kid, so I told them. I mean, I hope I didn't get in any trouble. I just told them the truth.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, Charlie.
Hey, Kelly's a real good kid. I want you all to know that.
Mr. Harmon, will you excuse us, please?
Yeah, sure. Excuse me, ma'am.
Kelly, I understand that you and Mr. Dorn got into a fight last night.
Yeah, we sure did. But I'm not going to apologize for it. He deserved what he got, treating Jody like that. And I'd do the same thing over again
You
if I
should
had...
really just answer the questions.
What is it you want to know?
Sit down, Kelly. Now, after you and Jody were fired, where did you go?
Well, I took Jody home, back to the Kavanaughs.
And where did you go?
Home.
Did you come back here at any time during the night?
Well, yes and no.
Yes and no. What does that mean?
Yes, I came back here, but no, I didn't come back inside.
Why did you come back?
To get my puppets. Well, Dorn was so angry that I was afraid that he'd lose his cool or something and tear the puppets apart.
But you changed your mind?
Yeah, as soon as I got to the door, I thought it would be better if I didn't come back inside in case there was any personal property missing other than my own. Mr. Dorn was angry enough that he could have caused me a lot of trouble, so I turned around and left.
Well, how did you plan on getting in at that time? I mean, the club was closed.
Yeah, well, I still got my key to the Unicorn right here.
I'll take that, Mr. McGrath, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Listen, can I go back and get my puppets now?
No, we'd like to ask you a couple more questions.
Yeah, well, look, I had a dozen of them here, and I put a lot of time and energy into them. I want to see if they're all right.
Hey, if you folks will excuse me, if you want me for anything, I'll be home, okay?
That'll be all right.
Charlie, wait a minute. Are my puppets still here?
Well, they're at the same place you left me. Want me to get them for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Charlie.
You're welcome, kid.
Miles, I want to thank you once again for coming down to perform this autopsy.
It's all right. When the chief himself calls, says it's important, who am I to object?
Is there any medical jargon in here you're going to have to decipher for me?
No. Cause of death is clear cut. No pun intended.
Then the knife was it?
Yes. The wound was fatal, although death wasn't instantaneous. I'd say from the size of the wound, the amount of blood lost, it probably was a few minutes before he died.
Well, then that would lend some credence to Saxon's theory that Dorn made it to the switch and turned on the lights himself.
Yeah, that's possible.
You knew Dorn pretty well, didn't you?
Well enough to know I didn't like him.
You got any thoughts on who might have disliked him enough to want to stick a knife in his back?
No, I don't think many people are going to mourn his passing, but I can't think of anybody who'd want to see him dead.
Because, you know, some signs make us believe that Dorn knew the identity of his attacker.
There was an altercation at the Unicorn a couple of hours before he died. You know about that?
No. It's the first time hearing about it. Come on, give.
No, it's not important. I don't really know about it firsthand. I'm sure your people will come up with the details.
Well, if they don't, I'm going to ask you to make a statement.
Yeah, sure.
I got back the report on the murder weapon. It was an ordinary filleting knife with a plastic handle.
The kind you can buy in any houseware store?
Yeah. It was absolutely clean, not a print on it.
So it told you nothing?
Well, on the contrary, it told us that our killer was quite aware of what he was doing. Either wore a glove or wiped it clean afterwards. My guess is wore a glove.
Well, what is your feeling about this? You think you're going to solve the case?
We'll crack this case all right. I think we'll have the killer within a day or two.
All right, I've got to leave.
Miles, wait a second. Are you sure you don't want to tell me something more about this altercation?
Oh, listen, I'm sorry I brought it up.
Why? Does it involve somebody you know?
I guess I better be honest with you before you start theorizing. It's somebody that worked with Elliot.
Nicole's sister. What's her name, Jody?
No. Well, yes, she was involved, and the fight was over her. Apparently, Elliot was playing Casanova last night.
He was after Jody?
Yes, he was, hot and heavy. And Jody's friend, Kelly, came to her defense.
Kelly. Puppeteer, is that him?
Right. Yeah, Nancy Carr's nephew. He works at the Unicorn, too. Well, he worked there, I should say.
Yeah, now nobody works for Dorn.
Well, what I meant to say was that he was unemployed before Elliot was killed last night. Elliot fired both Jody and Kelly.
How'd you find out all this?
Well, he brought Jody back to our place last night. We all sat around and talked about it.
So now we have one angry, disgruntled ex-employee.
Well, now, look, I would not think too many bad thoughts about Kelly. He seems to be a very nice young man to me.
Yeah, they're all nice young men, Miles. Haven't you ever realized that? All the family and friends and neighbors say that he was such a nice guy.
What I'd like to know is where Mr. Dorn went to when he pulled his little disappearing act last night.
You know, the person he went to see might be able to fill in all the blanks for us.
Yeah, the only problem is that person or persons may have split town long before now.
Wasn't it interesting that the chief said that he might have been the last person to see Elliot alive?
Someone to see you, Kelly? I've got your little puppet friends here, huh?
Right. Hey, let me see. Let's see if they're all right.
Are they okay?
So far, so good.
Yeah, well, they're where you usually keep them. I don't think they were touched.
No, I don't think Dorn got to them. They look fine.
Yeah, but one thing, kid. I looked and looked, and I only find 11 of your little pals here.
Yeah, so?
Well, I could have sworn you said you had an even dozen. Unless my hearing's going bad on me.
You know, you're right. There are only 11.
Yeah, well, I guess I must have been mistaken or something. I could have sworn that I had 12.